Hello, Rose Davidson here, and welcome to the podcast. This episode originally aired as a video on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/doesbiz, Mums in Business with Rose Davidson.
Oh, hello, Renee Hasseldine. How are you?
Hi, Rose. I'm great, thanks. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for joining me on my video series of busy mums for mums in business. And you are one of the most high-profile entrepreneurs that I know. So, yeah.
Thank you.
To you. So just a little bit about you, and I'll just tell the ladies what's going on. Your purpose in business is to empower people to love what they do and to do what they love.
Yes, and I want to add to that because I recently reviewed it, and also to be who they are.
Excellent.
It was see how it was all about the doing in the past. Now I'm bringing in it's actually we've got to be ourselves first and then do the do.
Yep,
be first, then do.
I agree. And your vision is igniting the passion in thought leaders to package their brilliance into products people love through group programs, speaking engagements, retreats, and online resources.
Yes.
And you are a very passionate person. I know that. You're just full of bubbles and energy. And your philosophy is having fun and getting shit done.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And throwing in as much sexual innuendo as I possibly can along the way.
Well done. And the result is that your objective is to achieve your outcomes for the business and to solve the problems of the business efficiently and effectively. So you produce thoughtful work in a high standard, aiming to exceed expectations. That means completing projects on time, on budget, and with lots of fun every time.
Yeah. So yes, I think it's a fun balance for me. Is yes, I'm all about having the fun, but also we're in business for a reason, and if we're not actually getting results, then I question why we're here. So we've got to be having fun and getting shit done. We've got to have both prongs.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, So other than you being a busy mum, which I know you've got children, what are you doing business-wise, and how many businesses do you actually run? Because I know you've got this Share Your Passion book. Yeah.
Yes.
You're an IP goddess. What's going on?
Well, so my main business, which is Share Your Passion, or Renee Hasseldine, the brand. I have a number of projects within that business itself. As you mentioned, I'm a best-selling author. I'm also podcast host of Leveraged and Loving It, and also co-host of the Business Playroom. So that's a joint venture project with Andrew Eggleton and Andrew Gibbons. So that's a kind of it's an extra project, and it kind of started by accident almost. And I'm sure we'll talk about that a bit more later. But in terms of my core business, what I'm up to really is working with the coaches and thought leaders to extract what's in their heads and turn that into intellectual property assets, which to me is business porn. So there you go. There's my first.
Yeah.
Ka-ching.
Good on ya. Okay, so other than those projects, how do you see them progressing or growing into the future? Do you want to be like a mega millionaire, or do you want to?
No, I haven't. I don't have any great desire to be a millionaire in and of itself. Like, it doesn't appeal to me. It never has. I live a quite simple life with my husband and my two children. We live in an eco village. We love to grow our own food. We don't have super high expenses. We don't overindulge. We have our core charities that we like to, we pay monthly donations to. We don't live a high expense life, and my business more than sustains our lifestyle standards, and I'm quite happy and comfortable with that. So I guess in a way that means that I lack there's not enough pain or leverage, I guess, there for me to want to grow bigger. I'm quite happy, and I don't need. I don't know. I don't feel like I want to get bigger just for the sake of getting bigger, unless it serves a bigger purpose. So, in terms of growth, I think just to be doing more of what I love, which is, that's always evolving, Rose. It's even just now I'm in the process of doing another spring clean in my business where I'm just cancelling out the things that I don't love anymore or that aren't working. It's like stop doing the stuff I don't love or that's not working. Start doing some things that, are exciting and attractive, but without getting caught in the shiny objects. And to continue doing the stuff that I'm still loving and enjoying. So, I like to do this kind of reflection at least quarterly, which kind of makes the name Spring Clean not really appropriate at all.
Yeah, the connotation of it, I guess. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. But it's like I need to detoxify my business regularly because I am an excitable person, which means that I have a tendency to get excited by shiny objects. And I'm becoming more aware of that in my age. But I'm human and I get excited and I'll see something and go, oh, that looks like fun. Maybe I'll try that. Yeah. And I will. I'll have a go. I'll have a play and I'll see if I like it. I've run and you'll notice that I do this because I've run one 5-day challenge because I'm like, more people are doing it. I'll test it out. I'll see if it works. But okay, been there, done that. Not for me.
They're a lot of work. There are a lot of work. Okay, yep. So your lovely book, Share Your Passion.
Yes.
So I love, and I've got a signed copy. So what prompted you to write the book, and are you planning to write more?
Ooh, what prompted me to write the book? Oh, well, partly it's almost like it's almost like the equivalent of a business card in our industry. It's so important for us to express our thought leadership in an easily consumable format. And for me, a book is great because it means when I meet someone, I can show them my book and it's tangible and it's physical. It's got thump factor, as Andrew Griffiths likes to say. And I really love that. It's being an author does open doors for you that may not have been open before. It really does kind of, and it also helped me to solidify a lot of my thoughts as well, because knowing that it's going to be published means that I want to be really clear about it. So I don't know if there was like a single trigger or point or something that made me kind of want to do it, but it was, the whole idea for me was it's part of my broader marketing strategy to stand out and rise above the noise. Being an author is one of the ways that you can do that. So yeah, that's kind of what attracted me. And are there more books? Oh my God. In my brain, constantly. Just like think about all my business porn, Rose. Like there is so much, I could fill books and books of my porn.
And shiny. They could be shiny.
Shiny business porn. If only I could make the book shiny.
Make them silver lettering or something, you'll be right. So as a busy mum, with your own business, and I know you've been in business for quite a number of years, how have you been able to manage your time from beginning when you first started out to how do you manage your time now?
Yeah. Well, so I've been in business 17 years and I became a parent just over 7 years ago. I'd say the first 15 years of my business I did the hard way. I hustled and I glorified hustle and I thought being busy was cool. So, okay, I was a bit of a slow learner in that sense. I now, having seen the light, because in all that time I was creating leverage for all my clients. I was making their lives easier, helping them to work smarter, not harder, but in the same breath, not doing it for myself. So I wasn't drinking my own Kool-Aid, so to speak. So yeah, I think in the early years of my business, I didn't manage my time well. I didn't. That's probably the honest answer. And in terms of now, like in the last couple of years, I'm really committed to, I only work during school hours, during school terms. So that means that I'm working sort of 20 to 30 hours per week, 40 weeks a year. So I get a lot of time off. Yeah. because, you know, my husband's a school teacher. My kids are both in school. So when school holidays comes, the four of us have time together. That's quality family time, and it's non-negotiable.
Yep. So as far as like your own me time, what do you do for leisure and, you know, in between? I mean, obviously because you've got only working 30 hours or 40 hours a week, how do you manage that now?
Yeah. I fit some me time in during those school hours. So, you know, not all of those school hours are work. I find, for example, I have a personal training session twice a week, and that is after I drop kids off at school. And so that's part of the me time. I also, you know, my husband loves to ride his bike. He does 300 kilometers a week, and that's his me time. And he, you know, that's his, I don't have a great giant passion outside of my business that he does, but that's because my passion really is channeled into my business. Like, my business is me time because I just really love creating business porn so much that it is my juice. Like, yep. There's nothing else that excites me more than creating intellectual property assets. Like, anything else that I love doing, yeah, I love doing, but it doesn't juice me anywhere near as much as, you know, sitting down with the thought leader and creating awesome shit. So it's kind of funny. Like, I think, well, what's my me? I don't have a bike riding or anything like that. And I have done salsa dancing and yoga and things like that in the past, which I am not finding time for at the moment, which is partly to do with where I live because it's not close and local. But still, I don't think I love that stuff anywhere near as much as I love what I do in my business. You know, I'll go and sit in a cafe and read a book and journal and eat cake and drink coffee. Like, that's exciting to me.
Yeah. Okay. So, so you talked about journaling. So, are you a strong advocate of journaling?
I believe journaling is fabulous. I have been better in the past with my habit around journaling. I know I'm so plug for Anna Shelley's journal. Anna Shelley, who's in my group and lives locally to me as well, created these gorgeous journals. So when I decided recently that I needed to get back into it, I just hooked up and grabbed one from her. But, you know, I'm not, even though whenever I do journal, I feel the benefits of it, it's not an ingrained habit. And I think that it's a super important thing for me. I know that unless I'm held accountable to something, or it's in my diary and it's made it as a routine and I'm committing to it in that way, I'm not great at following through. And I'm probably a good example. You know, I think other people would be similar. You know, it's why, you know, in the coaching industry, that's why coaching and coaches are really important, because they will hold you accountable and make sure that, you know, they give you a deadline. And that's, you know, that's one of the massive values in it. And that's why I pay a personal trainer, because left to my own devices, I do zero exercise. That's just, I know myself. You know, my husband will happily get up at 4:00 in the morning and go for a bike ride. He's self-motivated in that area. I'm not self-motivated when it comes to exercise. So, you know, even to the point where I know that I've paid my personal trainer, and it's the session's booked in, and whether I turn up or not, that money is gone, and the time is in the diary. A couple of weeks ago, I got to the studio and sat in the car park 15 minutes before I went in. Like, I need some serious leverage to get my ass doing some exercise.
Yeah,
so,
I can relate to that. Yes, I can relate to that.
Yeah, I was really, and it was hilarious because I was sitting there watching, it's like I was observing my own patterns and behaviors and thinking, this is hilarious, Renee. You have paid someone to hold you accountable. The time is in your diary. You're booked in. You've got to the location, which is half the battle, right? I'm sitting in the car park thinking, I don't want to go in. I don't want to do it today. I can't be bothered. No, I don't want to do it. No one's going to make me do it. No, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Like, great self-talk, Renee. Awesome stuff. I get on Facebook. I'm like, okay, I posted. I'm like, hey, I need some public accountability now. Give me some more leverage, people. Give me some more leverage. So I'm like, okay, help. I'm in the car park at my personal training studio. I need to go in, but I'm really just going to sit here all day and scroll my newsfeed unless you kick my ass. And thank you to my Facebook friends who did kick my ass and got me inside, because I did that workout and I felt much better afterwards, of course, as we know.
Yes. So other than your diary, and you've got you outsource nearly all your work to the lovely Stevie Schaefer.
Yes. Well, we've actually just got a new team member as well now. So Stevie and I now also have Sol, who is helping us with some more of our admin stuff. And I also have a bookkeeper. I have a nanny. I get help with my garden. I'm a personal trainer. I'm all about. I have my team.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Yeah. So you when did you start outsourcing your work?
Okay. I pretty much have had a cleaner my whole life, my whole adult life. It's always been a non-negotiable for me. I don't know. As I say that out loud, I'm like, oh my God, I sound lazy.
Yeah, I think I'm more in looking at the direction of, using Stevie and
yeah, okay, so we're in the business. So, but the thing is that I think that's not something to be underestimated, because as mums, as parents, right, how many of us are trying to run a business and parent and clean the house? It's actually, for me, having a cleaner, even though it's not technically a business outsourcing activity, it's actually something that has freed up headspace and time in my world. So it does make a massive difference. But yes, but also, hiring Stevie, that was about 2 years ago. And that was a massive turning point in my business. So, beyond having, the help of a cleaner, having Stevie, who is my content manager and does amazing work for my business, was the turning point pretty much for me in my business. I said before that I hustled the first 15 years. When did that change? Stevie. There's before Stevie was BS. No accident. It was bullshit. And then there's after Stevie.
Yeah.
There's life before and after Stevie. It's it's like BC, AD.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. It can be quite helpful, especially when you're a busy mum. You just don't have time. Like the cleaner, you can't do everything. You
can't do everything well.
No, you can't, and it's quite difficult.
Yeah.
So, if what advice would you have for starting a business for a mum? What find your passion. How do you they might have a great business idea, but how can they define that as being passionate?
Well, I think beyond passion, the passion needs to be backed up with a zone of genius. And I think of, if I look at what Stevie does, for example, what she provides for my business and why it works so well is that she is operating in her zone of genius, and what she offers to my business as a solution is so much more than I could ever have done on my own. And so if you're starting out in business, you need to be, one, doing something that is totally in your zone of genius. And by that, I mean it is in your flow and it is easy. And like I was saying before, when you asked me, what are my hobbies? My business, because it's so much fucking fun. I want everyone, I'm so passionate about everyone finding work that they feel so awesome about that they don't need to escape from it.
Yeah, okay.
So, for me, creating the intellectual property assets is so much fun, and it comes so naturally to me that it almost, I've had clues of it my whole life that this is actually my zone of genius. And so if people are struggling, who are watching, who are thinking, yeah, well, what's my zone of genius? You have had clues your whole life. And I would say this, do you feel like, Rose, you know what your zone of genius is?
Yeah, I do. It's helping busy mums. That's my zone of genius, because I have such a great portfolio of skills that, I want to share them with other mums, because I know I've been a busy mum and I know what it's like to really struggle and find, the time just to get everything done. It's really difficult, especially with little ones. It's not so bad with preteens or adolescents, but when you've got small children, toddlers, it's quite hard because, they demand so much of your time.
Yeah.
And, so that's my zone of genius, is just being good at helping others find theirs and getting themselves organised. So, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so there'll be specific tasks that you're doing when you're working with those busy mums that actually feels juicy to you, where you're just like, oh, this is the fun bit. This is the fun bit. I love this bit. Yeah, what's that? Because I saw that face change. That was what I was looking for.
Yeah, I just did a database for someone, and I just sat at my computer all day and didn't do the Pomodoro thing at all, but, I love just creating things for other people that makes them happy and makes their life more.
Okay, so people, did you just hear that she just got excited about creating a database? How many other people would think that was like fingernails on a blackboard, right? So this is an awesome clue, that you can do that stuff and you love doing that stuff. There are people for who that is just absolute torture and pain, and so you want to be finding the people. So that's, for people who are listening, it's those things that you get lost in, that you just get excited about, that you get the Rose face when she talked about that database, right? The same face Rose gets. You want to know what your zone of genius is? Maybe have a mirror up and watch your face when you're doing tasks and go, oh, look, there's the Rose face. That's exciting to me, right? That's your clue. Yeah. You want to be doing the thing that gives you that face that says, yes, this is juicy and exciting and I'm passionate about it. And then you want to make sure that you can communicate it in a way, just be upfront and just that's super cool. It's like, you got database issues. I love that shit. Give it to me. Yeah. Okay. Now I know Rose is the person I send all the database people to, right? Because she loves that shit. So all the people who hate that go to Rose, right? Yeah. And that's the thing, is you find the thing that's just juicy and exciting and focus on that thing. You don't have to then say, but my client also wants this, 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 and this. And I can do that stuff, but I'd say all that other stuff is zone of excellence. It's not zone of genius.
Yeah, well, I have
and it's easy to get pulled into all those zones of excellence because our clients also need that stuff and we feel like, well, that's how we make our money. Yep. But I have seen over and over and over again, the more specific you get about the problem that you solve, the more desirable you are to the people who have that problem.
Yeah, that makes a heap of sense. It took me a long time to work that out. It's almost a year. I was offering a lot of titles to myself, and it was confusing because people didn't know what I did. So I changed my words, and because words are important when you're trying to find your ideal client. And yes, I did find that by changing some words and changing them around slightly, that it made me feel better because I understood myself a lot better, and the people that I'm interacting with in the different various groups that I'm in now understand what I do rather than a title, and because a title is just a title. It's not it doesn't define you. No. And it's just got to be really, really obvious, and it's got to be in the language that your clients use, which is often not the jargon that we use when we talk about ourselves. No, that's quite true. That is very true. We sometimes get caught up in the jargon and we forget that it's for
our clients don't use those words.
No, they don't. They definitely don't.
No. And so, I would say, big key to people starting out, focus on your zone of genius and offer a solution to people around your zone of genius, because the work will always be fun and it won't drain you, and you'll be able to do it, and it will be sustainable. That would be number one. Number two would be to do your market research over and over and over and over and over again, and ad infinitum, right? It's not a do it once and it's finished job. It's you do it all the time, and you don't cheat and create an online survey and think that's market research.
No,
It doesn't.
No,
It's not.
I've tried.
Yeah.
I've tried on my.
Oh, look, I've tried too, because I'm thinking that's leveraged, right? I create the survey once, I get 100 people to do it, and there you go, I got 100 responses. But those 100 online survey responses are nowhere near as valuable to me as one market research interview conducted over, Zoom, where I can watch someone's face and see where the face changes.
Yeah.
Because the facial expressions will give you much more insight than ticking a box in an online survey.
Yes, because you can't see, and they could just answer anything anyway. So
yeah, and you want their own words. Whatever, you don't try and mind read the language that your clients use. Like, you do a market research interview, the exact words they use, you write that phrase down, and that's what you use in your copy.
Yeah, because I got a few words like zone of genius, equilibrium. I got from the program last year. Yeah, from Caleb. Yeah, I love that word now.
Yeah.
So I guess that's probably my next question. After all, they found their zone of genius. How do they find that all-important equilibrium between life and work?
Well, I think if you're doing work that you love, that life and that your business is part of your life. It's not a balance between like life on this side, business on this side, and they're two things that you're balancing, or there's an equilibrium between them. That's just bullshit. Because if you're living on this side and you're working on this side, that means living, dying. You're equating like working with death, and that's bullshit.
Yeah.
You've got to be doing work that feels like life, that feels like living.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you've done that, it really is a case of doing what feels good for you. For me, it feels like working during school hours, during school terms, because that feels to me like, I get to the end of a school term and I'm like, okay, I need a rest. I'm ready to hang out with my family and, go swim in a waterfall or whatever it is that we're going to go do. I'm ready to go and do that. And because I've given everything to my business during that school term, I'm much more present with my family, because I feel like I've been fulfilling myself. My work is fulfilling to me, so I feel my tank is full because I've done awesome stuff. I feel like I've been useful in the world. I've made a difference. I've helped people. And now I feel like, yes, I'm a whole human being. I can go to my children and feel like I'm a good example of what it means to be a valuable human on the planet. I don't know. I don't know how it's a balance. Is it a balance? Is it an equilibrium? I don't know what the answer is, but I think you can't just say it's a balance between life and work. Like, that whole work-life balance is bullshit. You've got to be driven by what feels good. Yeah. And for me, it's, does this feel good? Yes or no? And if it doesn't, then I've got to change it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that'll be about how much time I'm spending on my work. That'll be how much, what activities I'm doing in work and in, and outside of work as well. I don't like to overschedule my time outside of my business. To me, the idea of bliss is I look at my weekend calendar and there's nothing in there. I look at that and I'm like, yes, I don't have to get dressed by a certain time. I don't have to, I love that freedom of just thinking, okay, we can potter, we can do some cooking together, and we can go in the garden, and, on the weekend we were putting seedlings in and planting some more seeds and doing, I love just to be able to do that with the kids and not have a time schedule on us.
Yeah.
And, so bliss to me is an empty calendar.
Yeah. All right, Renee. Well, so other than your book and your IP goddessness that you're getting out there and doing, I don't think that I have anything else. Do you want to promote anything that you're doing at the moment?
Look, we're about to do a Kickstarter campaign for the Business Playroom, which is very exciting. We need to raise money for post-production, and it's a really fabulous series. Really, we've got together in season 2. The caliber of guests on the panel are just off the charts amazing. They're some of the biggest names in the entrepreneurial world in Australia. So, we're really, really excited about the content that we've got to deliver to people, and it's really going to make a difference. And I know, you've mentioned, Rose, the value that you've got just in season 1. This is totally next level season 2. Like, you're going to be blown away by that. And but it takes money to make a production of this standard happen. So yeah, we're going to be raising money through a Kickstarter campaign, and I'd love people to jump on board and get behind us. So check us out at look for the Business Playroom on our Facebook page, and there'll be all the details there over the coming days on how to help us and get behind us and help season 2 come to life.
Yay! You sound so exciting.
Yeah.
All right, my lovely lady. Well, thank you again for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Rose.
Oh, yeah.
It's always great to chat.
Pleasure. And I'll put this in post-production, and I'll send you the link when I've done it.
Yay.
All right, my darling. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rose. Bye.
Thank you for listening. I really do appreciate your time. I look forward to sharing the next episode with you very soon. Bye for now.